So now that we've been introduced to the overall QuerySmith graphical environment, what I'd like to do now is start talking about how we can begin to start building up some real queries. So I'm going to start with a simple query where I just pull in two tables, my categories and my products table, and this is just going to allow me to see a list of all the products that I have in my database. So I'm just going to get rid of this here, manage the screen real estate a little bit. So we've seen already that we can have tables on our canvas just by dragging and dropping. And one of the things that we can do that we haven't discussed explicitly yet is we can create joins between tables by dragging from one table and dropping on the column from another table. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a join condition between them, which is indicated by this gray line. And the criteria for that join condition is listed in this join expression, which we can edit if we want to for advanced join conditions. But the most common thing that we're going to want to do from here is double click on columns to include them in the query results. And so let's pull in the category ID and product ID, and then let's maybe pull in some pricing information. So from here, one of the things that I can do is I can just go ahead and I can run this query directly, and I can see that my result set's going to come out in Excel like this. Now the columns are in not necessarily random order here, but they're in the order that's going to be generated the way that QuerySmith does by default. And what we'd like to do is control that a little bit more. So I'm going to click on the canvas background and see my column list here, and I'm just going to reorder these by dragging and dropping, and that will allow me to control the output a little easier. And if I run that again, I can see that my columns come out in a little bit friendlier way. So what I can do is so as I'm generating SQL, there's a reasonable chance that I might generate SQL that is invalid. So for the sake of argument, I'm just going to put in something that I know to be bad in this join condition. And as I go and run this, my query is going to fail, and the way that I know that something went wrong is that the SQL pops up in the SQL editor and the line is highlighted that tells me where my problem is. So this is going to give me some insight as to what it is that I need to change in order to do this. Now, because SQL offers so many options and has such flexibility, there's going to be a little bit of work required to make sure that your query is generated properly, and if you have some issues, you're going to have to diagnose them. But hopefully some of the tools in here give you help in finding out what those problems might be. So one last thing that we might want to do from a basic query perspective is just drag and drop some filter conditions. Just looking at my results for just a second, suppose what I wanted to do is filter out products that are below $50 in value so that I only see products greater than $50 in value. One of the things that I can do just as a quick test here is to say where I want greater than, or well, just say greater than the numeric value of 50, and if I go ahead and I run that now, we can see that I get a much smaller list of products. So that's just a very basic query overview, and we're going to go into more detail about the individual options now, and stay tuned.